The Producers 2006 version movie review. So this is a movie I was really excited to see and then was really disappointed by. But yeah, it's worth kind of recounting the buzz around this movie for people who maybe either are a little bit younger or people who don't remember or whatever. This was originally a 1967 movie made by Mel Brooks, which in my adolescence I never heard of. And I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe it was just, maybe it was just me. But, I remember Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles, Robin Hood Men in Tights, kind of all these classic Mel Brooks movies, which were popular with kind of teenage boys, kind of middle school and teenage boys, and girls as well. But, all these kind of movies we would watch and rewatch and quote and stuff like that. I never even knew The Producers existed until the stage play happened. Now, I grew up in the Midwest. I lived in the Midwest, and then I was moved to Japan. So I was never in Broadway and never got a chance to see the stage play. But you just heard all these rave reviews about how it was really funny and, kind of the controversy about the subject matter, of course. And then once this buzz kind of started coming up, curiosity about the original began to resurface. But again, at least in my circle of friends, nobody was able to track down the original. It didn't seem to be showing up in the video rental stores in our neighborhoods. To this day, I've actually not seen the original, although I'm sure in this day and age, you could track it down quite easily, what with pirating and the internet. I've never really figured out how to pirate stuff on the internet. But anyways, I was very intrigued by it. I was intrigued because I was a Mel Brooks fan. I was intrigued because of all the positive publicity it had been getting, the stage play. And then I was intrigued because the kind of controversy of the subject matter. Actually, let me start with the controversy of the subject matter, largely just by saying I'm not going to talk about it. I mean, I know there's that whole debate, which goes back apparently to the 1967 version, about whether it's acceptable ever to make jokes about Nazis, and if so, kind of under what circumstances. I guess I said 1967. I guess that debate really goes all the way back to the 1939 and Charlie Chaplin's movie, The Great Dictator, or whenever that movie came out, sometime in the late 30s, I believe. I don't know. I'm just going to sidestep that question. So just talking about the entertainment value of the movie, I was really disappointed. And I know I'm not the only one who was disappointed. This movie generally got bad reviews. But it's a bit difficult putting your finger on exactly what happened because, the stage play got rave reviews, right? And this movie was intended to be just a direct adaptation of the stage play. You got all the same actors, most of the same actors, kind of imported the stage play as much as possible directly into a movie. I did actually read one reviewer who said, actually that's precisely the problem. He said the overacting in slapstick comedy, which you need on the stage, doesn't actually translate well to the big screen. Yeah, quite possibly that's the problem. Although, I don't know. I never saw the stage play, so I can't really compare them. But there are more problems. The songs. Now, a few of these songs are pretty funny, particularly the songs that are in the play within the film. But then the whole thing is a musical, so there's also songs. It's a musical, so characters will just break out in song all throughout, even when they're not within the play, that's within the film. And a lot of these songs are pretty unmemorable, and they just serve to slow down the action of the movie. Every time there's something interesting going on, and you're kind of waiting to see what happens next, there's just a song. I don't know, take my criticism with a grain of salt, because I always tend to complain about this in musicals. I often enjoy musicals when I'm rewatching them, but when I'm watching them for the first time, I'm always come on, get on with it. Get the song over with. I want to find out what happens next. And then kind of once I've seen the movie a couple times, then I start to enjoy the songs. But yeah, my impression on first viewing was a lot of the songs were annoying. They just stopped the action, and I didn't think a lot of them were particularly funny. Come to that, I didn't think most of the film was particularly funny. Now, it did have its moments. There were a few good gags in there, but you know, it's a 2-hour film. You want more than just a couple good jokes in there. You want the thing to be funny throughout, and it's not. Yeah, I don't know what happened here. I mean, Mel Brooks has had a up and down career. He's had some brilliant films, and he's also had a few stinkers. But this film was so popular as a stage play. Something I wonder about, and I don't know, is maybe the kind of people who go to Broadway are not kind of the same kind of people who watch South Park or Family Guy. So maybe to that audience, this concept seemed a lot edgier. I think after you've been brought up on South Park and Family Guy and kind of this animation that intentionally tries to kind of choose controversial subject matter to shock you, then this kind of loses its shock value a little bit. But I don't know, maybe I'm stereotyping Broadway theater audiences. In this day and age, probably everybody just watches everything. I will say, actually, since I initially watched this movie, and since initially writing my initial review on the blog, a YouTuber named Confused Matthew put out what I thought was a very intelligent review of this film, in which he, as much as possible, tried to objectively say why it wasn't funny. Now, of course, you can't objectively say why something isn't funny usually, but he made a good case that in this case, you can compare the jokes in the original and the jokes in the remake and see how the original had a certain setup that made the joke funny, and the remake had changed the setup so that the joke was no longer funny. And that review is no longer up, and I don't know why. I guess Confused Matthew took down most of his reviews from that period. I can't find it up anywhere anymore. But I thought it was a very intelligent review when I saw it 6 years ago or whenever he first posted it. Okay, anyways, those are all my thoughts.